Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Miss Safitri. My name is Sekar Safitri DHITA ADININGSIH. My student ID is 33230081. Now I'm gonna present uh, Sociolinguistic Project 1. Part 1. Code mixing and code switching. Code mixing is the practice of updating elements from one language into another within a single utterance, commonly observed in multilingual speakers navigating between languages in informal contexts. And code switching is alternating between two or more languages in conversation. Theoretical framework include matrix language framework for this linguistic capital covers conversation analysis and value design. This is the references of my project. Next, code missing. The example sentence, aku lagi ngerjain assignment yang deadline-nya besok. English word embedded, assignment, and deadline. This sentence demonstrates code mixing in informal education context where Indonesian students naturally insert English academic terms into their native language. This practice reflects the bilingual environment of modern Indonesian universities and signal educational identity. Code mixing theory and function. Matrix language framework. Indonesian serve as the matrix language, providing the grammatical structure, while English words are inserted as embedded elements. This explains why phrases like assignment and deadline appear naturally within Indonesian sentence without disrupting their grammatical flow. Broad linguistic capital. Code mixing signals education, social status, and identity. Function include filling lexical gaps where Indonesian equivalent feel inadequate, maintaining informal register in casual context, expressing bilingual identity, and demonstrating relevance in educational setting. Next is code switching. Example dialogue. A student explains a concept to peers switching from Indonesian, like casual conversation, to English, to academic explanation, and back to Indonesian. Jadi kemarin aku baca artikel tentang ini. So basically, code switching occurs when speaker alternate between language within a conversation. Nah, itu yang bikin topik ini menarik banget. Next, this is a theory of code switching, covers conversational analysis. In 1982, contextualization cues are verbal and non-verbal signals that mark language switches, helping speaker manage conversational flow and signals change in topic, tone, and social relationship during multilingual interaction. Bell-Auden design theory, 1984, speakers adapt their language choices based on their audience. Functions include content appropriateness, audience accommodation, cognitive efficiency, and in expressing complex ideas, and effective discourse management. Next, part 2, diaglysia. In the case is in a university seminar, a student presents using formal Indonesian. However, during the discussion session, the same student switches to more informal variety when interacting with peers. Meanwhile, the lecturer consistently uses formal Indonesian throughout the session. So the situation described in the case reflects to the sociolinguistic phenomenon of diaglossia, where two language varieties are used differently depending on social context and communicative function. In the seminar, the students use formal Indonesian during the presentation but shift to informal Indonesian during peer interaction, while the lecturer consistently maintains the formal priority. This language behavior demonstrates how speakers adjust their language according to setting, participant, and social expectation. According to Charles A. Ferguson, 1959, diglossia refers to a stable language situation in which two distinct varieties of the same language coexist and serve different social functions. One variety is considered the high variety used in formal and official contexts, while the low variety is used in everyday informal communication. Next is called alternation, style shifting, mixing, and switching. The case is during a group discussion, students frequently mix Indonesian and English. One student say, "Menurut saya, this concept is very important untuk kita pahami," while another respond in full English but later switch back to Indonesian when speaker to another peer. The interaction among the students reflects several sociolinguistic phenomena, namely code mixing, code switching, code alternation, and style shifting. In the sentence, "Menurut saya, this concept is very important untuk kita pahami," the speaker combines Indonesian and English within one sentence. This phenomenon is called code mixing because elements of two languages are used simultaneously in a single utterance. According to Muscan 2000, code mixing occurs when bilingual speakers insert words and phrases from one language into another. Meanwhile, when another student speaks fully in English and later changes back to Indonesian while talking to a different peer, this is known as code switching. John G. Campers, 1982, explained that code switching happens when speakers alternate languages depending on social context, topics, and interlocutor. The students also demonstrate style shifting because they adjust their speaking style according to the situation and audience. This language practice occurs for several reasons. First, English is often associated with academic knowledge and modernity, so students use it to sound more professional and educated. Second, Indonesian is used to create the solidarity and closeness among peers. In sociolinguistics, language choice reflects social identity, relationship, and communicative purpose. According to Joseph Fishman, language use depends on social domains such as education and friendship. Right? Style shifting case study and theory. The case is a student speaks very formally when presenting in front of the class but become highly informal when talking to close friends after class. The vocabulary, tone, and sentence structure change significantly depending on the audience. So, the case illustrates the sociolinguistic phenomenon of style shifting, where speakers change their speaking style depending on the social situation and audience. The students use formal language during the class presentation but switches to an informal style when speaking with close friends after class. The differences can be seen in vocabulary, tone, and sentence structure. According to William Labov, 1972, style shifting occurs when speakers adjust their speech based on the level of formality and attention to speech. In formal situations such as classroom presentations, speakers tend to use standard grammar, polite expression, and structure sentences to appear professional and respectful. In contrast, informal situations encourage casual vocabulary, relaxed pronunciation, and more personal expression to create closeness and comfort. The change in speaking style happens because language is closely connected to social relationship and context. When presenting in class, the student wants to show competence, seriousness, and respect toward the lecturer and classmate. However, when interacting with friends, the student prioritizes solidarity and intimacy. So, a more relaxed style becomes appropriate. Howard Giles explained this through communication accommodation theory, which states that speakers adjust their language to fit social situations and maintain good relationships with others. Next is in case code mixing. In a casual conversation, a student say, "Aku lagi ngerjain assignment yang deadline-nya besok, jadi harus cepat selesai." The sentence combine elements from Indonesian and English within the same methods. The sentence, "Aku lagi ngerjain assignment yang deadline-nya besok, jadi harus cepat selesai." This is an example of code mixing because the speaker combines Indonesian and English elements in one utterance. The English words assignment and deadline are inserted into an Indonesian sentence structure. According to Miss Ken 2000, code mixing occurs when a bilingual speaker makes linguistic elements from different languages within a sentence or conversation. This phenomenon commonly happens in bilingual community, especially among students who are familiar with English academic terms. The speaker may use English words because they are shorter, more familiar, or commonly used in educational settings. Terms like assignment and deadline are often easier to express in English than in Indonesian equivalents. According to Joshua Fishman, language choice is influenced by social domains such as education, friendship, and workplace. Code mixing also has social and communicative function. It can choose modernity, educational background, and group identity among students. So using English term may create a sense of professionalism and membership within an academic community. In addition, code mixing helps communication become more efficient because bilingual speaker can express ideas naturally without changing the entire language structures. Next, code switching analysis. During a class discussion, a student began speaking in Indonesian but switched entirely to English when explaining a concept, then returned to Indonesian when giving an example. The case showed the sociolinguistic phenomenon of code switching where our speaker changes from one language to another during communication. In the discussion, the student began speaking Indonesian, switched entirely English within while explaining a concept, and then returned to Indonesian when giving samples. According to John G. Gomperz 1982, code switching is the alternation between two or more languages within a conversation depending on context and communicative purpose. The language shift happens for several reasons. First, English is often used in academic contexts because many theories and technical terms are easier explained in English. The student may feel that English expressions sound more accurate and professional when discussing complex concepts. Second, the speaker returns to Indonesian to ensure that listeners understand the example more easily and to create a closer interaction with classmates. According to Joshua Fishman, language choice is influenced by social domains, participants, and topics. Next is case of dialect. Students from different regions in Indonesian interact in classrooms. Some use standard Indonesian while others incorporate regional dialect features such as pronunciation, vocabulary, and intonation. The interaction among students from different regions in Indonesia reflects the sociolinguistic phenomenon of dialect variation. A dialect is a variety of language that differs in pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, or intonation based on geographical or social background. In the classroom, some students use standard Indonesian, while others show regional dialect features influenced by their local language and cultures. According to William Labov, 1972, language variation naturally occurs because speakers come from different social and geographical communities. Students from various regions in Indonesia bring their own linguistic characters into communication. For example, differences in accent, word choice, or intonation may reflect Japanese, Sundanese, and Bataknese, or other region influences. This happens because language is closely connected to identity and social background. This is my references for this project. Uh, so the conclusion of this project, sociolinguistic phenomena like code mixing, code switching, diglossia, style shifting, and dialect variation are fundamental aspects of communication in multilingual communities. They serve essential social, communicative, psychological function that enable speakers to navigate complex linguistic landscape. This language behavior reflects identity constructure, power dynamics, and cultural heritage in everyday interaction. Understanding these phenomena provide valuable insight into how individuals express belonging, negotiate social relationships, and adapt to diverse communicative contexts. Thank you so much. That's all for my project one. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.